our fourth week, and we've been telling ourselves about project, what is project management. We've told ourselves about different methodology or frameworks. We were able to look at Prince 2 2 weeks ago as well as last week, and we dealt with the 7 themes, 7 processes, and the 7 principles of Prince 2. And also we're able to talk about the corporate governance or the governance structure that Prince 2 recommends. Today, we'll be looking at the PMI methodology. Like I said, sometimes for 90% or 80% of organizations in the UK, they use the Prince 2 methodology. That was why I spent almost 3 weeks talking about Prince 2 to each and every one of us. And so from now on, we're just going to speed up, because normally today should have been the last class. But just because I don't want to rush it, I really want to take my time to make sure that you all understand what you're getting into. And also, so we might be having one more class after today, which I've spoken with the organizers already to say, permit me to extend the class by 1 week, because I really want to give everything out to everybody, and not just summary of what it's all about. So today we'll be going into the PMI methodology or the PMI framework. They try not to call it a methodology, they try to call it framework, because, like, if you notice that we said methodology for Prince 2, one of the principles of Prince 2 says tailor to suit your project. So that means you can take it, you can tailor it to suit any project you're working on. But these guys are saying, no, it's a framework in the sense that take it to any project. All you just need to do is just add few bits to it, and you're good to go. It works for any project, and you can run it for any project. Everything within PMI are things you need to do for any project. Remember, Prince 2 is saying that you might tailor it. Not everything within Prince 2 is necessary for you to run a project. Meanwhile, PMI is saying, no, this is a framework. Everything here is necessary to run a project. And that's exactly what we'll be talking about today. So for PMI define a project as a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. We said this during the first lecture. We of we use this definition. And for PMI said that the project has got 3 major constraints. That means a project is always standing on the tripod stand, and that is the scope, what work will be done, the time, how long should it take to complete it, and the cost, what should it cost. So that's what that's what PMI is talking about, and they call it a constraint. Constraint means limitation, meaning for every project, we expect it to have these 3 limitations. Meaning, first of all, they must tell you where the project should be completed. They have to tell you what the project budget is, and they have to tell you the scope of a project. So those are the 3 constraints of a project. And also, it went further to define what project management is. It said project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques. You can see now that PMI is actually using, it's the application of knowledge. So we'll be talking about what is knowledge. We'll be talking about what are the skills that a project manager should have, or what are the skills that a PMO consultant or a PMO professional should have. We're talking about tools and techniques you need to use for your project as well. So it says, PMI says that project So someone might be asking, okay, what exactly is PMI? PMI is a Project Management Institute. So I will be interchanging between PMI and PMBOK. PMBOK is a project management body of knowledge. It's a book, it's a body of knowledge or a textbook developed by PMI. So PMBOK contains everything I will be talking about for the first 30 minutes of tonight. Then later on, we'll go more into details of every other thing that you need to know as a project manager or as a PMO person. So while I'm talking, if you have questions, you can post your questions. I'll pick them up and answer them as we proceed with the training. Okay. Project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirements. They're saying that your project management, it is accomplished through appropriate application and integration of logical processes. I just said that now. Appropriate application and integration of everything we'll be talking about, of all the knowledge areas. It's exactly what PMI talks about. Now, PMI also talks about managing successful projects. A successful project manager professional, meaning as a project manager, as a PMO person, your job is to make sure that you deliver outcomes and benefits required by the organization. What is the business case saying? What do we have in the business case? The business case says that we need to do this, we will realize this is about ability, this is the benefit. Your job as a project manager is to make sure that you are delivering the outcome as well as the benefits are required. Its delivery partners and other stakeholders and organizations. Let's go to the next point. Create and implement deliverables. As a project manager or as a project management professional, you need to create and implement deliverables that meet agreed requirements. So they are telling you that the agreed requirement is 10 laptops with Office 365 installed on it. That is the agreed requirement. At the end of the day, you must create and implement deliverables to meet those agreed requirements. And also, your job as a project manager is to make sure that you meet the target. You must make sure that you stay within the financial budget and also involve all the right people on the project. You must involve the right people. As a project manager or as a project management professional, you must make best use of all the resources in the organization and elsewhere. Remember, I told you, was it 2 weeks ago, I was saying this to you, that within the organization, there are a lot of resources. Like the template I was talking about, you don't need to go and reinvent the wheels. You just have to make use of the resources within the organization. There are templates, they've created different templates. Just ask them, okay. And for most organizations, so if you're going into a very big organization, let's take BP for example. If you're going into BP now, and they call you're on a separate project within BP. So on that project, BP as an organization have their whole, what they call the PPM, the project program management tools, meaning they have a central, sometimes they call it the central PMO. They have their whole central PMO that is always looking after all the projects they are working on within the organization. So with this, the central PMO are not directly involved with your project, but they just come to do a kind of project assurance on your project, on your program. These are the folks that have got almost all the templates. They have all the resources you might be looking for. So if you need a risk register, these are the people you need to go and meet to say, I need a risk register within the organization. What is the approved or acceptable register? What is the approved or acceptable risk register? If you bring your own risk register that you worked with in a different organization and you bring it in, by the time they come for the audit, they will just give you a non-conformance. They will give you an NCR to say you're not conforming to what we have within the organization. So when you get into an organization, the first thing you need to ask is, do we have a template within this organization? So that is what we're saying, that make best use of all of resources within the organization, take account of changes in the way the organization operates, manage any risks that could jeopardize success, take into account the needs of staff and other stakeholders who will be impacted by the changes brought about by the project. Don't forget that projects are always about changes. So a project is there to bring about a unique product. That unique product is all about changes, right? Okay. I spoke about this the very first week about projects and operations. I told you that project has a time frame, a time limitation. That means there is a start and a finish time for projects. But for operation, it is an ongoing event. Projects are different from the normal operation of the organization in that they have specific objectives to deliver new benefit to the sponsoring organization, stakeholders, and or delivery partners. They may introduce significant changes to the way the business operates. So projects will introduce, like they're saying, oh, we need to introduce SAP application or SAP ERM, or we need to introduce the CRM, and the CRM is Microsoft Dynamics and all that. That is bringing about change within the organization. The project is to create new output, deliverables, and all that. Have a specific temporary management organization, meaning when we say have a specific temporary management organization, meaning whenever we are running a project, the project people immediately after the project, what happens to them? It's that they go to their different departments within the organization, or they tell you that as a contractor brought in to handle the project, at the end of the project, that is the end of your contract. Or if they have another project, they push it to another project. So that's what I'm saying. You have the temporary management organization and governance arrangement set up for the duration of a project. They are susceptible to risks not usually encountered in the day-to-day operational work of the organization, involve a range of stakeholders from different parts of the organization and beyond. Okay, let's quickly talk about the project life cycle. So if you remember very well, we defined project management in the context of PMBOK as the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques. So PMBOK, as being concept, we have some numbers of knowledge areas. So if you have your notes, you can just no. Okay, I have it here. Okay, good. All right. So let me still talk about. Okay, I'll get there. Then I've got it there. So now, if you remember the third, was it the third class or the second class? I tried to explain the project life cycle to us, and I said project life cycle is all about initiating a project, planning a project, and I was using rice. I was using cooking jollof rice to explain it out, fasting and all that, if you can remember very well. And I said the first thing you need to do is you need to initiate a project. When you initiate the project, you have to plan the project. When you plan the project, and we've agreed that this is the plan for this particular project, what we now need to do is we now need to start executing. We now need to start cooking the rice. We've said, oh, what we're eating tonight is jollof rice. That is, we've initiated it. We're eating jollof rice, and we're saying that Mandy is our chef for this particular project. So that means we've identified Mandy as a project manager for that particular project. We now need to start planning what are the things we need to do. How do we need to do it? How do we need to manage risk? How do we need to manage issues? Who are the stakeholders we need to taste the meal? Who are the people we need to send to the market to buy the ingredients and all that? What we are doing at this point in time is we are planning. So after we've planned and we've agreed that okay, Kule is the one that is going to buy rice, party is the one that is going to boil the water. We can ask, okay, have we all agreed our roles and responsibilities? Have we all agreed that it will take us 2 hours to complete everything from going to the market and from going to the market and also completing the whole thing? We've agreed 2 hours. Everybody has agreed. We all know our responsibilities. We all have the resources needed. We've agreed that you're going to the store or to the shopping mall to buy this is the amount of money you need, and you've agreed that yes, I need it, and I will deliver these particular amount of things that we've all agreed. That is what we call the baseline. So we've all baselined the plan, we've baselined the plan, we've baselined the cost, we've baselined the time, and we've baselined the scope. That this is the scope of the thing we want to do. After this, what we now need to now go into is now execute. So execution is, party is going to buy what he's been asked to buy by giving him the money. Mandy is boiling the water as agreed. That one is doing that. What we are doing at this time is we are executing the project. After execution of the project, what you now do is you close out your project. You've executed the project. We've agreed that the work you've done is according to the requirement, according to the criteria set from the scratch. The moment this is done, we can now say, fine, let's close out our project. Let's accept this food from Mandy and approve that yes, she has done a good job. Now, there is a particular process I didn't mention, and if you look at the blue, so red is the initiation, the yellow, the amber is the planning, the green is the execution, the purple is the closing. Now, there is a guy that is blue there that is cutting across initiation, planning, execution, and closing, which is called the monitoring and controlling. Why we're saying that Mandy will be our chef, I need to monitor and control. Can Mandy do it? Is Mandy fit enough to do it? Does Mandy have the required criteria to do it, or the required skill to do it? Right? So what I'm doing at that point in time is I'm doing a form of monitoring and controlling. Good. So after that, we now say, okay, that's fine. We now move into planning. When we get into planning and we're saying we need to manage risk, we need to buy 5 cups or 10 kg of rice. We're saying that, do you guys think 10 kg of rice will be enough? Okay, we only have 20 pounds. We can buy 15 kg with 20 pounds of rice. What you are doing at that time, even though you are planning, but you are still monitoring and controlling all the variables. So while we are executing the job, you're pouring your rice, you're boiling your water, you're checking if you are boiling the right quantity of water, you've poured your rice, you're checking if you've poured the right quantity. What you are doing at that time is also, even though you are executing the task to be done, but you are still monitoring and controlling things to be done. Does that make sense to us? And while you are closing the project as well, you are checking also if what we said earlier on during the planning stage is what we are doing now. That is during the closing stage. So we are trying to monitor and control if what we said we would do is what we've done, is what Mandy has given to us, then we will accept it from Mandy and say, Mandy, thank you very much. Now the project can close. So that is what PMI talks about when they said this is the project life cycle. The project life cycle goes from initiation to planning to execution to closing, while monitoring and controlling cuts across every of the cycle. Any questions so far? Tony is asking that as a project manager, when you get your requirement from the product owner, what is the first document to put out? Is it a project brief? Now, who are you calling the project owner? Are you calling that because you have, when you're using the product owner and we're moving into the agile environment. When you say product owner, we're moving into the agile environment now. So, okay, good. Agile environment. Okay, good. So when you have, I don't want to use terms that is not within the waterfall, because what we're talking about is the waterfall now. So when you have your requirement, the first thing you want to push out is you want to call everybody and you want to ask them that we need to create a backlog, a product backlog. So a product backlog has got all. So the moment you get your requirement from the product owner, the first thing you want to create is you want to create a product backlog. That's why I'm saying that we're not talking about we're not talking about agile at the moment. So we might be confusing people with that. Okay, regarding central PMO, okay, I got you now. Central PMO is not the PMO lead. So the central PMO might have a PMO. PMO lead is a role. It's like you're saying PMO. So this is the way it works. There's a PMO support. So you have PMO support, you have PMO analyst, you have PMO lead, and you have a PMO manager. While some organizations do not have PMO manager, they interchange between PMO lead and PMO manager. A typical example is where I am at the moment. I'm a PMO lead. Some people will call me PMO manager, some people will call me PMO lead. You get PMO is a PMO that the organization set up to look after other PMOs, other project management office. So I'm not talking about PMO as a role now. I'm talking about PMO as an office. When I say the central PMO, so the central PMO is the central project management office or program management office for the entire organization. Does that answer your question for me? Okay, good. Next question is, what do you do at the initiation stage? Okay, so according to PMI methodology or framework, there are two things or three things you do at the initial stage. The first thing you do is you create your project charter. So you create your project charter, and that's why you see the scope management. You create your project charter. The next thing you do is you create your stakeholder list. That means you need to identify your stakeholders. First thing, you develop your project charter. The next thing you do is you identify your stakeholders. So meaning, remember that when we spoke about Pursue says, okay, yes, you identify your key stakeholders here. Okay, yeah, you have your business illustration document, you have your business case outline, or you have your project brief coming out. Okay, you have your the project mandate is an input to start off and all that. But PMI Pinbook is saying that no, key major things you need to do here, you need to do your project charter. Who can remember equivalent of project charter in Prince 2? Remember I told you that the document that initiates a project is called the project mandate in Prince 2, while the document that initiates a project, if you're using the Pinbook framework, is the project charter. So in some organizations, you hear project charter, while in some organizations, you hear project mandate. They're actually saying the same thing, only that project charter is a little bit detailed than project mandate in content. So Patty, we don't confuse yourself. We said something last week that the stakeholder does not mean the sponsor only. The stakeholder is anyone that is directly involved with the work of a project and that can be affected both negatively and positively by the work of a project. Remember, we said that last week. So whenever you are saying stakeholder, don't use stakeholder in the context of sponsor. The project manager, the guy you send to the market, the guy you send to the store, to B&Q to go and buy that particular page is also a stakeholder. So if you want to talk about just a sponsor, if you want to talk about the top guys, just a sponsor or project executives. Okay, good. Yeah, I know that that's what you're saying. I just don't want you to confuse yourself, because don't forget that when you go for interviews, you want to talk about this, so that's why you need to mind most of the words you use. Excellent. All right, let me go back. Is it not the owner that gives the PM? Yes, it is the project, it is the sponsor that gives the project manager the mandate or the project charter. Remember, I said it in the first class. That is the normal procedure. That should be the normal procedure. But unfortunately, we don't follow that procedure in most cases. They will bring in the project manager to come and write the project charter or write the project mandate. Meanwhile, the project sponsor should be the ones to write it, or the exec should be the ones to write it, but they always put the responsibility on the project manager. Just write it for us because we don't really know what to write. We just want this project, so just write it. Does that make any sense, Patty? But in the ideal world, that is the way it should be. All right. All right, Mandy, I'll come. There's a question from Tululope before yours. Okay. After identifying the stakeholders and getting your requirement, would the PM be the one to do the user and acceptance stories? Or the BA? They work together, but it is majorly the BA that is expected to develop this, but both of them will always work together. So this is the way it works. See, I don't told you you've gone to Agile, you've gone for Agile training, or you've been reading stuff on Agile. So within Agile, we don't use project manager, we don't use PM. Let me quickly put this one out. We don't use that, we use Scrum Master, SM. So within Agile, if you're in an Agile environment, if you are using the correct Agile methodology, or Agile is the correct Agile environment, you will not hear anything like project manager. What you'll be hearing is a Scrum Master. While for BA, you might not be hearing business analyst. What you'll be hearing is a product owner in place of business analyst. Does that make any sense, Tolu? Okay. Mandy is asking, can you please explain the difference between a project charter and a business case? Okay. A project charter, according to PMBOK, is a document that initiates the start of a project, and also it is a document that announces the project manager or appoints the project manager. You can see now the project charter initiates the start of a project or announces the project manager or appoints the project. It's a document you need to check if you want to know who the project manager is. Meanwhile, a business case is a document that shows the viability and the feasibility of the project and the benefit of undergoing such a project. Is it clear now, Mandy? So a project charter is that contract. We can call it a contract that is given to the project manager to say, the project manager, we want you to do this project for us. This is what this project is all about. This is the definition of a project. This is the cost of a project. This is the time frame of the project. This is the scope of the project. So the project manager is now expected to go and use that and show everybody that, oh guys, I've been appointed as a project manager, I now need to start the planning process, or I need to start identifying my stakeholders and start the planning process for this particular project. Okay, good. So if you look at the chart here, this is what I've been talking about since, to say initiation, planning, execution. Then if at execution we're saying that you didn't do this job right, when we're doing the monitoring and control and we say you didn't do this job right, we did a change. We do the change. By the time we do the change goes to planning, you execute. If it's right, you close out. If it's not, you put out a change, you do it again, you go through the cycle. So that's how we say project management or project cycle is iterative. Iterative in the sense that you keep on going in and out, in and out, in and out until the product is in line with the initial requirements. Does that make any sense? Okay. So, for the knowledge areas, we have 9, or now we have 10 knowledge areas, which we've spoken about most of these when we're talking about PRES2. Well, PRES2 didn't call them knowledge areas. Basically, PRES2 called it just mention them as the themes. If you remember, we spoke about the themes. We spoke about risk. We spoke about change. We spoke about organization. We spoke about business case and all that. But PMI is saying that no, that is not what we want to call it. We want to call it knowledge areas, because each and every one of these things, it's a knowledge on its own. And that's why they came up with these guys, 10 knowledge areas. To say the 10 knowledge areas is scope management. We've been given the scope. The scope says 10 laptops with Office 365 installed on it. That is the scope, meaning we need to manage that scope to make sure that we don't do two things to that scope. One, we don't give 11 laptops and 11 Office 365. What they ask for is 10. We need to make sure that we're not gold plating. Gold plating is exceeding customers' expectation. I said this in the first class. In project management, this is not acceptable. The sponsor says it needs 10 laptops with Office 365. Please deliver what the project sponsor is asking for. Right. Now, the next knowledge area is the time management, time or schedule management. Now, they've given us 10 days, meaning we need a knowledge area. We need the knowledge on how to manage our time to make sure that we're not exceeding the time frame given to us. So that is the second knowledge area. The third knowledge area is they've given us a £10,000 budget. We need a knowledge on how to manage costs. So that's why we have the cost management. Right? So I'll put it in the presentation mode now so that you can see. Okay. Now, we need to deliver this to quality, right? We need it to be top quality. So that means we need the knowledge on how to manage quality as well. The next thing is we will be recruiting people. We'll be using people to do the job. There will be roles and responsibilities on how to do that. That means we need to manage resources, meaning we need to manage people. And also, with these resources, we need to manage also the goods that we need to do. And here we always call this particular resource the human resource management. Then, we need to communicate to Mandy, we need to communicate to Tolu, we need to communicate to Patty that is going to the shopping mall, we need to communicate with every one of us, we need to communicate to the sponsor as well, we need to communicate to the people that we are cooking for, That is what we call, that means we need a knowledge on how to communicate, which is called a communication management. Now, while we are doing all of this, there are few risks that will come up. Remember, one of the things about project is there is always risk. There will always be risk involved within a project, right? So while we're doing all of this, we're saying that we need the knowledge on how to manage risk. Next to that is procurement. We need, because we want to go and buy stuff, so we need negotiation skills. So this is where PMBOK is better than Prince2, right? Because if you notice, Prince2 didn't tell us anything about human resources, even though it told us about organization. Prince2 didn't tell us anything about communications management, even though it told us about governance. And it says normally when we're doing governance, we expect communication to happen. Prince2 didn't tell us anything about procurement. Meanwhile, PMBOK is saying that no, procurement should be a single, we need a knowledge on how to manage procurement. You need negotiation skills. Your contract, the kind of contract you want to engage in as a project manager, or you want to engage all your vendors or your suppliers, you need that knowledge as a project manager. And stakeholders management. So this is where if you worked on projects before, you will discover that on a large project, they will always have a project finance person to come and manage the cost for the project manager very well. They will always have a planner to come in and do the schedule management or the time management plan. So help the project manager to do that. They will always have a quality assurance person, project quality assurance person, to come and help the project manager to manage quality. They will always have a resource person, a resource analyst, or a PMO manager, or a resource manager to come and manage resources. They will always have a comms manager, a communications manager on the project. They will always have someone also to come and manage risk, a risk manager. While they will always have someone to come and manage procurement, supply chain or procurement manager, right? So remember, now if you notice now that while they will bring in a business analyst to come and look at the scope, the requirements, the scope of work to be done. If you notice all of these things now, one thing is left, which is the stakeholders management. Remember I told you that 99.9% task of a project manager is actually stakeholders management. So the project manager is expected to manage these stakeholders by himself. You can't bring anybody in to come and manage stakeholders for the project manager. So the project manager is always expected to do this solely. While on some projects, the project manager is expected to manage all of these 10 things I've spoken about. While on some projects, they will have different people to manage the different parts or the different knowledge areas. Does that make sense to us? So, under each of the knowledge areas, PMI simplified it to say, under each of the knowledge areas and under each of the process rules or the project life cycle, there are different bits of processes that needs to take place. So I'll just run through this for you to understand the idea behind this chart. So this particular chart is a project from start to finish. How a project is expected to be done during initiation stage. What are you expected to do? During planning stage, What are you expected to do during executing stage, during controlling stage, during closing stage? What are you expected to do according to the PMBOK methodology or the PMBOK framework, which is a PMI? Don't forget. So during the initiation stage, you're expected to develop a project charter. Remember, I said it's a project sponsor that is expected to develop a project charter, and if you look at it, that is why it is the first document you're getting out of a project. Then when you go into it, the project manager is now expected to identify stakeholders with the project team, with the project team members, the identified project team members, some key guys, some key stakeholders will be identified in the project charter. And these are the people that the project manager will first of all work with to identify the stakeholders, the key stakeholders on the project. Good. Next to that is cover up integration now. Let's go to scope. So a project manager is expected to plan how scope will be managed. Then if you plan how scope will be managed, the next thing you now need to do is now need to collect your requirements. So let me come back to Tolu's question earlier on. When you use the PMBOK framework, the PMBOK framework did give room for the business analyst until recently, until 3 years ago, 2 years ago, when they changed the whole thing and said, okay, at this point you cannot bring in a business analyst to come and collect your requirements for you and develop a requirements documentation or requirements traceability matrix. Prior to this time, a project manager is expected to collect requirements, to go around and collect requirements and develop all the documents. So after you've planned scope, you've collected your requirements, the next thing you now need to do is now need to produce, you now need to define your scope. And when you define your scope, what you get out of that is called the project scope statement, which Prince 2 calls the project initiation document. So in Prince 2 methodology, you'll be hearing project initiation document. In PMBOK, you'll be hearing project scope statement. Then after that, you're expected to develop what we call the WBS. WBS is called the work breakdown structure. When we get into planning, I will show you a sample of WBS. But we can actually crack our head now to say, okay, what exactly is a WBS? A WBS is an hierarchical structure of decomposing the activities into, or decomposing the scope of work into more manageable components. Let me show you an example. This is a WBS. This is a work breakdown structure. A work breakdown structure is saying that what is the scope of work? The scope of work is development and implementation, maintenance, management information system. So it's a high-level decomposition. Remember, we're not going into detailed task level now. What we are trying to do is we're just trying to pull a chunk of work, but let's break it down to some level, some reasonable level, where we can give a team to say, a team, go and do this. This team, go and do that. That team, go and do that. And if you could look at this, is first thing we need to do is we need a requirement definition. A requirement definition on its own is a huge task that can take up to 1 month. System design is another huge chunk of activity that can take three months depending on the project we're doing. System development too is big, and you can see for system development we've broken down as well to say equipment issue module, work order control module, spare part inventory control module, and all of that. So this is what is called a work breakdown structure. It's an hierarchical decomposition of the scope into more manageable. I've got a question here from, yes, Roland, thank you very much for simplifying that. Tina is saying, do we write project charter in all projects? If you're using the PMBOK methodology, yes, you need to write a project charter. But if you're using the Pursue methodology, it's called a project mandate. Okay, Francis, you mentioned Scrum Master is equivalent to a project manager in agile situation. But in an agile situation, because we don't, how will I put it now? We don't cost. So I don't want to confuse you now. Let me put it this way. Don't forget that we use agile methodology or agile for IT project, most especially for a software development lifecycle or for a software development project. So within this, they will tell you that what we are doing is we're just building, we're less concerned about, at that point, they are not concerned about costing, they're not concerned about budgeting and all of that. So that's why I use the word equivalent, because in a Scrum environment, they don't use project manager, they just use a Scrum Master to coordinate, to be the master, to join everybody together, manage the stakeholders, manage the developer, manage the tester, and all of that. Meanwhile, another team entirely or someone else entirely is managing that. So in Scrum, we don't even talk about cost and all of that in Scrum at the moment, because what we're thinking is it's just for us to develop a particular software, and if we are developing that software, all we are concentrating upon is concentrating upon that particular software. So some people use Agile, and the moment we use Agile is waterfall and Agile. So the moment we use Agile, then you can have a project manager, and a project manager within the project, we can have another team that is Agile team that is developing the tool or the software. With that, they don't have to stress themselves with budgeting, with costing, and all of that. Well, presently, in some cases, you will hear Agile environment is saying we need a PMO analyst to work in an Agile environment. If they are saying that they need a PMO to work in an Agile environment, what they are asking the person to come and do is you'll be doing our budgeting for us because we don't want the Scrum Master to do that. You'll be doing our planning for us because we don't want that to do that. So different organizations, so I use the word equivalent just to let you understand, but normally in Agile environments, what we just do is we use Scrum Master strictly. Okay, next to that is Patty is asking, is PID the same as project brief? No. PID is the advanced, is more detailed than project brief, right? Project brief is a document that is PID the same as project brief? No, it's not the same. All right. So a PID is more detailed than the project brief. Okay. All right, let's continue there. In the absence of no question. Okay. Let's talk about something I like most, which is called the cardiac. The cardiac management. Now, some of you must have heard it before. It's called RAID, but unfortunately, it's got more than just those four things. We used to call it RAID, but we've gone beyond RAID now. RAID, you hear RAID means risk, assumption, issue, and dependency. But it's gone beyond that. We now have what we call the constraints. We have the constraint, which is a C. We have the assumption, which is an A. We have risk. We have dependency. We have issue management. We have action management, and we have the change control. Okay, so as a project management professional, these 7 things are your essential baby on a project. You must be able to manage constraints. Remember, we've spoken about 3 constraints already. If you're using Pursuit, we should talk about 7 different constraints. The cost, Pursuit spoke about the cost, the time, the scope, the quality, risk, resources, and benefits. Spoke about those constraints. So you must be able to manage those constraints. Now, be able to differentiate between what an assumption is, what a cost. So the objective of this particular second part of it, which is a good timing, 9 o'clock, be able to differentiate between assumptions, constraints, risk, issues, dependencies, actions, understand why they need to be identified and monitored, understand how to identify, analyze, and manage them. So, as a PMO person, I'm not talking about a project manager now, as a PMO person, these 7 guys are your baby. So, uh, So here we'll be talking about initial constraints, assumption, risk, and dependencies documented in your brief, procedures to identify risk, issues, and dependencies. We'll talk about procedures to manage risk, issues, and dependencies. And I'm sure for some of you that did the assignment, for some of you that did my assignment, you will have seen some of these things in the brief. Just a little discussion about known risk, known issues, what are the dependencies, and all that. You must have seen that. And I really want to say this, that if you're here to submit the project brief, please try as much as possible to do it. It just gives you that confidence that yes, I understand what I'm doing, and reading through it and like I said, I appreciate it. I saw some that are 10 pages, I saw some that are just 2 pages and all that. It doesn't matter what number, it's just dependent on what is the information, what is the organization information, how do we do this in my organization. That is very, very critical. Okay, so those are the 7 babies. We'll be talking about these 7 babies later on. First, let's talk about this guy. I spoke about this guy earlier on. As a project manager, your major job is to make sure that you're managing stakeholders. So stakeholders management is a critical component to the successful delivery of any project, program, or activities. It creates positive relationships with stakeholders through the appropriate management of the expectations and agreed objectives. As a project manager, remember we said this, your job is to deliver and also manage expectation or expectations. Stakeholders management is used to gain support for a project, program, anticipate resistance, conflict, or competing objective. What is a stakeholder or who is a stakeholder? A stakeholder is either an individual, group, organization who is impacted by the outcome of a project or program or initiative. Initiative could be a change. They have an interest in the success of a project and can be within or outside the organization that is sponsoring the project. A stakeholder can also have a positive or negative influence on the project. So don't think that every stakeholder has got positive interest in your project. No, some of them have got negative interest. They don't want your project to succeed. So the people that do not want your project to succeed, you need to manage them very, very well. That's why you need to identify both the positive and the negative stakeholders on your project. All right. In order to manage stakeholders' relationships, it is imperative to identify the stakeholders associated with specific project or program. So what we are saying here is, let's assume you're on a project, you're on a program. Program has got various projects. It will be good for you if you can identify stakeholders according to their project. The next thing you need to do is you need to analyze stakeholders' attitudes and potential need of involvement, meaning how is this person, how are we going to involve this person, how are we going to involve. So before you can start all of this, there is something you need to develop, which is developing the stakeholders register or stakeholders log. Okay, so an example of that is this. On my page 96, you can see an example of a stakeholders register. So you can see what is the stakeholder's name. I'm going to put it in a presentation mode now. What is a stakeholder's name? What is the position of this person? This is an extract from one of the projects I worked on. We have regions, and that's why I said, because we were working on based on regions, that's why I said different projects. Is that so you need to identify the project that this person is working under your program, because this project was more about region, success center, current engagement, unaware, desired engagement. You want this person because the CEO, you want this person to be supportive. Now, here comes where your job is as a project manager. As a project manager, you should be able to define what your stakeholders grid will be like. When I say stakeholders grid, we want to understand, are we using, so we need to see the power and the interest grid. Let's take, for example, Deji. Deji is more like the provost. Deji is more like the provost of Blue Sky Citadel. So if Deji is the provost of Blue Sky Citadel, and we want to run a project, let's assume we want to develop a phone app for Blue Sky Citadel, and Deji is one commissioning us to do it. Now, we need to understand is what is, let's assume we now have our stakeholders register. To say the stakeholders register is the name of the stakeholder is Deji. What's Deji's position? Deji is the provost. What is the region? Okay, Deji sits at the center. What's the current engagement of Deji? Deji is leading. Okay, he's leading the whole thing. If he's leading, okay, that means it's good. Desired engagement, we want him to be more supportive. Okay, now, if you are saying that, I'm going back now to say, okay, from 1 to 4, what is the power of Deji on this particular project? Deji can tell us that, you know what, guys, I want to put a stop to this project. This project has been giving me so much headache. I want to put a stop to it. Meaning, Deji's power on that project is what? Is high. So let's pick it as 4, from 1 to 4. 4 meaning high. Okay. Now, we can say that, okay, what is the interest of Deji on this particular project? Oh, Deji's interest is high. Right? So that is 4. 4 times 4, that is 16. So that means Deji will be in the region of where stakeholder 6 is on my slide. What do we do to Deji? We need to manage Deji closely because Deji can pull the plug of this project anytime. So because of that, we need to make sure that we are feeding Deji all the relevant information, but making sure that we are engaging with Deji on a constant basis and Deji is happy with the project as we proceed with the project. Let's take Bolaji for example. Bolaji is the admin, quote and unquote, apologies, just an example, Bolaji. Really, Bolaji is the admin for Blue Sky Citadel. What is the power of Bolaji on the project? The power of Bolaji, we can say the power of Bolaji from 1 to 4 is 1. What is the interest? Oh, Bolaji is interested in the project because this particular project would make Bolaji's work so easy. Instead of sending emails to admin email address on assignment and all of that, instead of keeping you informed on Telegram and all of that, you can always upload all your assignment on the app, and it pops out to the required lecturer straight to the required trainer. If I'm the one in charge of PM, if the assignment is on PM, you just have to select the PM, and by the time you copy, it jumps in my own email address directly, so it doesn't have to go through her. Do you understand? So her power is very low, is one, but our interest in the project is very, very high. So Bolaji will be in the region of stakeholders for that. So what do we do to Bolaji? We just need to make sure we keep Bolaji informed to say, Bolaji, we finished this part of the project. We're going to the next part of the project. We're going to the next part of the project. What do we do? Just to keep her informed. So this is what the stakeholders management strategy or stakeholders management plan is all about. It just helps you to put stakeholders in the right grid where they should be, so that you can manage them closely and you can know the kind of information you need to send to communicate to different stakeholders. Does that make any sense? Like if Deji now, we need to communicate with Deji how we are spending the money. Meanwhile, for Bolaji, we don't need to communicate to Bolaji how we are spending the money. We just need to keep her informed on how the project is going and all that. Does that make any sense? So that is all about stakeholders management. So if you go on Google, so guys, this is how to do it. You just have to go here and just say stakeholders register. Can you see what I just did now? I just put XLS at the back of it, search. So it's going to give me different stakeholders register in Excel format. You can see all of these are stakeholders register in Excel format from different organizations. So let's pick up this. No, this is not open. Okay, so this is the stakeholders register. This is a grid. I need to share. Okay, so this is what I just downloaded. You can see the stakeholders name, the power of the stakeholder, the level of concern of the stakeholder, which is the interest I just shared now, the score, the position of this person, the expectation and the role of this person, and they have the grid here. So automatically, I want to believe that when you put names there, it's going to pop up here, basically. So you can see the guys that are here is saying manage expectation closely. The guys that are here is saying you have to keep them happy, keep them involved. All of the guys that are lower here, you just have to monitor them in case one of them might become interested at the end of the day. The interest and the power of this person might become really high, so you just have to manage, and you just have to monitor them closely and make sure that stakeholders are being managed every time. Does that make sense to us now? So we can say that the SDLC, don't quote me, we can say that the SDLC is mirrored by the project lifecycle. Don't forget that the software development lifecycle is saying that you need to define, which is more like the initiation stage. You need to design, you need to build, or you need to plan, define, design, build, test, and deploy. So it's not within the project life cycle as a whole. Does that make it? Because the closeout, we can say closeout is deploy. We can say that the build stage, the build and testing stage is executing stage. Software development life cycle mirrors this project life cycle I just told you, which is initiate, plan, execute, monitor and control, and close out. So for software development lifecycle, we have to define, we have to plan, we have to design, we have to build, test, implement, and then deploy. Basically, so everything is wrapped within that. We can select that. Okay, these are initiation, these are planning, these are these, and all that. Okay, how do you keep SH satisfied? How do you keep stakeholders satisfied? You keep them satisfied. Don't forget that. So this is before you do your grid, before you do your log, there is something you need to develop, which I said earlier, which is a stakeholders management strategy. So your stakeholders management strategy or your stakeholders management plan will have detail of how you've agreed within your team to manage a particular stakeholder closely, to keep a particular stakeholder informed, meaning every 2 weeks we'll be sending updates to this person. The person you are keeping informed, you are sending updates to them every 2 weeks, but the person you are trying to manage closely, you are sending updates to them almost every week. One of the stakeholders you need to keep satisfied, you're just, maybe you're having a weekly meeting with them as well to say, this is where we are, do you have any issues, can you communicate with us, and all of that. So there are different ways that you need to agree upon within your project on how to keep this particular stakeholder satisfied. Make sense? Okay. So I'll get to everybody's questions. Please kindly tell us, what does cardiac stand for? So, like I said, this is the first time you'll be hearing cardiac, and this might be the only place you'll be hearing cardiac because how to form this. Now, cardiac stands for constraints, assumptions, risk, dependency, tissue, action, and change control. Mandate: how do you manage difficult stakeholders? On any project, you will always find difficult stakeholders. Okay, I'll give you a real life scenario which is going to take like 5 to 10 minutes to explain, and that might not apply to your project or your organization that you might find yourself. I got on a particular project, and I think I've explained this earlier on the very first day. Went on a particular project, and on this particular project, so we have the production or the operations guys as well as the project guys. Within the project guys, we have someone from the engineering team, and the operations guys told themselves that because of this particular guy within the project team, this project, they will not support the project. Even if they happen to be forced to support the project, they will frustrate the project not to succeed. So they brought us in as a program manager and as a PMO lead on the project. What do? You call people for meeting, and within the meeting, between operations guys, within the meeting, you see them pressing their phones, or sometimes they will decline your meeting and tell you, we don't have the time. Please, we don't have the time. And you could clearly see that they are trying to frustrate the whole thing. And all that, even though you were not privy to the information that they said they would frustrate the whole thing, but you just noticed that you weren't getting their commitment. So my program manager thought about it that okay, is that if the team is not working well together, what does he need to do? Okay, the first thing he was going to do was the first thing he did was okay, I need to understand each and every one of these particular projects. So he brought in a consultant from outside to come and do a personality test, discussion, team building, and all that. Okay, we did that. So at the end of the day, we got the result of everybody. I understood that this person is this, that person is that. That's how to manage that person. So with that personality test, some of them are called Belbin. There is Belbin, there is Myers-Briggs, then there's the DISC personality profile. Yes, in-house politics. That's why these particular guys were difficult. Now, so they brought in these guys to come and do all of that. So he did all of this for us. And with that, we got a report. So I understood that, oh, Richard, this is who Richard is. Oh, this is who Roland is. This is who Mandy is. This is with that particular report. We were able to understand each person and how to deal with each person as outside of the project. So we're using that approach, but unfortunately that didn't work still because they were just trying to prove difficult. So we just have to set up a meeting with them to say, guys, all right, let's sit down. What exactly is the problem? So one of them opened up to us to say, if this guy is still on this particular project, unfortunately, this is the reaction you'll be getting from us because we don't want this particular guy on the project. And if you still want that guy on the project, you need to speak to that guy to start behaving well, not to be doing all knowing, not to be criticizing the job we're doing as the operations team, and all that. So we told them, we said, okay guys, that's fine. Thank you for the trust you have in us. We'll handle this and all that. So the other guy, we went to the other guy, told him that, guy, this is what is happening and all that. So our program manager said, oh, Ayo, is it possible you manage each of the meetings that this guy will need to be in? So instead of these guys sending out the meeting invite and all of that, I now happen to be saying their own meeting invite. At least I've heard that respect from both of the parties. They will always attend my meetings. So for the first 2 months, I had to sit down in some of their meetings, listening to jargon that doesn't concern me. All because we want to manage the stakeholders to be talking together. Do you understand? I have to sacrifice that to sit down within the meeting, try to coordinate the meeting, try to allow them to speak to each other, create a room and atmosphere for them, which is very good. So that was how we're able to scale through that particular situation. And everybody's now working together, project is going on fine and all that. So like I said, it might not be like that in your own organization. But one of the best ways, because these are the questions you will always hear during interview. When they interview you, there is no way to escape it. They will always ask you about stakeholders management questions at interviews. They will ask you that, okay, you have a difficult data, how do you manage this person? Okay, I had stakeholders that refused to carry out the testing because one particular test script didn't do what she expected. At the meeting with the outgoing project manager, I had to step in and arrange a meeting with her. She went on for almost 30 minutes about one test script at our meeting. Someone then just like to make noise for no reason. So you need good interpersonal and calm approach. Absolutely. You're very correct, Roland. You need a calm approach if you want to be a good stakeholder manager. You need, as in, you can't afford to flare up. You cannot. All you need to do is to make sure that you are having conversation. You're quiet, and the moment they ask you these questions during the interview, these are the things you want to tell them. That it's not about being calm with them. It's not about making that particular stakeholder see that you are here to help. You're not there to cause trouble, but you are there to help them out, and you're always showing it to them that you're there to help them out always. Does that make any sense? So that is about stakeholders management. Constraint. Constraint is, I'll just read through constraints. These are just limitations. Like I said, these are 4 constraints. A constraint is a barrier or limitation that is either already present and visible, or definitely will be so during the lifespan of the project. Its effect on the project or any part of its planning or execution are beyond dispute. So a constraint is always a barrier or a limitation. They are telling you that you can't spend more than £10,000, meaning no matter what you're encountering on the project, you have to make sure that you are spending within the budget. You cannot afford luxury. If they are telling you that we're giving you 10 days, you're making sure that you're working within the 10 days. Let's look at constraint types. Time frames and deadlines, funding, knowledge and skills levels could be a constraint. We need a particular tester to come and test, but unfortunately, this particular doing the UAT testing, this particular UAT tester that is quite good with UAT testing will not be available until the next 2 weeks. That is a constraint on the project. That means the project will have to be delayed for another 2 weeks and all that. So we have business environment and our decisions, the availability of resources, like I just said now, compliance with strategic objectives, yes, compliance, organizational issues could be a constraint, legislation could be a constraint. I'm sure some of you worked on GDPR projects, and there were times that, okay, GDPR, there was a time constraint on the GDPR, and even now, if you're working on bio data or personal data, you're constrained on how you request people's data based on GDPR. So that's legislation, coordination with external entities, support and commitment, business transactions, volumes, business transaction. A typical example is you want to withdraw £500, but Barclays is saying that on your personal savings you are constrained with £200-300. That's a limitation, and you need to pay a project manager for £500 without wiring. The project, the vendor wants to collect cash, so that is a limitation. That's what we say, business transaction volumes and all that. Okay. An example of a constraint: project must deliver by end of Q2 next year, or new legal requirements will apply. GDPR, like I gave example. Only small percentage of funding for project available in current fiscal financial year. Like these are typical for budgetary, for African budgets, where they will tell you that, okay, it's going to take us $2 million to do this project, but fortunately, 2020, we can only budget quarter of that amount of money, meaning you can't do more than a quarter of the project. You have to wait for the next budgetary cycle to be able to do a financial year, to be able to do the next thing. Next is that tonight, which is where we'll stop, and we will start risk management next. We'll do risk issue, change control, and planning next week, and that will be it for the class. So you can have all your questions ready for next week. Assumption. An assumption is that which is taken for granted or supposed. If you look at the picture on there, this person is assuming, I assume they will catch me. Meaning on projects, we assume a lot of things. And on project management, assumptions are said to be true until proven otherwise. Meaning, I can assume is that on this project I'm going on, there is always enough money, or I can assume that on this project I'm going on, that there will be sufficient resources, in-house resources, to carry out the project. So these are all assumptions. Do you understand? You can keep on assuming something that we cannot establish as being true at this point in time, but is likely to be true. With project, there's always a high degree of unknown. So unknowns are assumptions. How to make assumptions to move forward. Assumptions can be wrong sometimes, and they have an element of risk. If the assumption proves wrong, we need to raise an issue for it. When documenting the assumption, confidence, lead time, and impact, we need to understand what is the confidence. How sure are we with this assumption that we are raising? How sure are we that it is true? Lead time, how long before we can prove or disprove this assumption? So when you go on, when as a project manager, you will definitely hear a lot of assumptions. As a PMO person, you will hear a lot of assumptions. But your job is to make sure you document all of these assumptions in the assumption log and keep track of it. Make sense? Example of assumption. We will obtain 60% of the market over the first year based on market research. We will obtain 60% of the market over the first year assumption based on market research. Oh, we've done our research. They didn't do trend analysis. All they did was market research, and they're basing their assumption on that. Project will take not more than 6 months to deliver. All similar projects are taking 4 to 5 months. They are making an assumption. Meanwhile, there are few things that can occur. Agreement with new third-party supplier will be in place before work begins. Negotiations well underway. Who knows whether the third party will pull out? If we're making different assumptions, no further legislation changes will be announced for next financial year. Or if it's Brexit that we've done 3 elections, just within Brexit, we never can tell. Team will be skilled in the tools and technologies used. You're making an assumption on that as well. All right, any question tonight? Start documenting what are the major requirements. What are the key requirements? So you have to start asking requirements. If I'm sure there are people that are doing the BA side of it, so you need to work with your BA. What are the requirements? And also you want to also first to start documenting. So you want to get your, first of all, go and get your cardiac log. Inside your cardiac log, you need to start documenting the stakeholders, the different stakeholders you have. You want to define your roles and responsibilities. That's why I'm bringing you back to this particular page. Your roles and responsibility. What is the project product description? What approach do you want to take? Then you need to start developing your project brief, because project brief is what will take you out of this stage to the next stage. Make sense? So get your log ready and start documenting all your assumptions, all the known risks, what are the constraints you have on the project. Make sure you have that living document already and all the logs and you're documenting everything. Then from there, get your project approach, get your project brief. Like I said, all of this, because you're working on a new project, or because you're working on a project and Citadel, Blue Sky Citadel doesn't have in-house templates, so I think you're expected to use any templates. You can go just go on Google, pick up a template and agree with your team that it is good enough for us to use and all that. Make sense? Any question? Okay, yes, basically just sit down together. Well, this is my approach. My approach basically is get all the key stakeholders, all the key people in the room, and ask them to start thinking of who stakeholders are on this particular project. So it's more like a workshop, more like a brainstorming session. So can we brainstorm who are our stakeholders on this particular project? And you give everybody a post sheet to say see the post sheet, start putting names on the post sheet and put it on the wall. So they have different names, they put it on the wall, and you now need to start, okay, someone said Tola, and I'm like, okay, Tola, who is Tola? Okay, okay, I'm not sure. Then you now start deliberating, now start doing your analysis on it. Are you sure Tola is a stakeholder? Okay, how is Tola involved on this project? How will Tola be affected? And all that. So what you are trying to do, okay, the virtual team. Yeah, if it's a virtual team, you can still use your pro sheet. If you're using Skype, just ask everybody to write something and just stick it on the messenger and all that. You can still do virtual workshop as well. Okay. At what stage? Oh, Tola, you identify stakeholders from the beginning of a project till the end of a project. So you don't say we've identified stakeholders and let's rest. No, because as the project progresses, different people will be joining, different people will be coming out, different people will be showing interest. So all through the project, you need to start documenting all your stakeholders. All right. So if the PD is more detailed, document, the project is more of a summary. So when do I decide which one to do? Okay. So at the startup of a project a project brief is what you need to do. So when you do a project brief at the end of the start of a project and your project brief is approved, so you need to take your project brief to the sponsor or to the sponsor, to the AG or to the project exec to say these are project brief for this project. They will go through the project brief and they will say, okay, yes, we've captured everything we want to some extent. Yes, you can go to the next stage. Now you can go to the next stage. So at the next stage is where you now have, so let me show you what the next stage is. So you have your project brief at the start of the project. So at the initiation of a project, you can now see, at the initiation stage, you now have your risk management strategy, you have your configuration management strategy, you have your quality management strategy. Everything, all of these things here will go into your PID. All of these guys here will definitely go into your PID. That's why we're saying your PID is a more detailed document. Does that make sense now? The project manager and the team. Sorry. So let me take you guys back. There is something called the RACI, and I think I've mentioned it before. RACI is responsible, accountable, consult, and inform. So for PID, the project manager is accountable. It might not be the one fully responsible. It might delegate to the team, to say the team, okay, let's work together. For the risk part, risk manager, go and work on the risk. For the quality manager, go and work on the risk. Let's bring everything together. And at the end of the day, the project manager is the one putting his stamp on it to say, yes, the PID is ready, and the project manager is responsible for this. Good night, everybody. We'll see 8 o'clock next week, again, by God's grace.